Hey everyone, welcome back to I Heart Movies. My name is Jonathan North, and in this episode, I'm joined by my friend Katie, and we're going to be ranking all the animated films that we saw in 2019. This is the second of 3 episodes in a limited miniseries looking back at the movies of last year. Last time we talked about Disney live-action remakes with Soul. Next time we'll talk about our favorite movies with Eli. And in this episode, we're talking all things animation with Katie. This won't be a comprehensive list of all the animated films from last year, just the ones we watched, and we didn't even watch all the same ones. We each saw some that the other didn't, so hopefully we'll get a good feel for most of the animation of 2019. Okay, well, I guess we can just jump into this. How many movies do you have on your list?
I watched 12.
Okay. I have 16.
Oh, wow.
So let me do my bottom 4, and
Okay.
then we can go into our 12 main ones.
Yeah.
So my worst animated movie of 2019. This one was nominated for an Oscar, but I wasn't a fan. It's called I Lost My Body.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but I expected this was going to be a great movie. Maybe it was because I'd heard so much positive buzz it got nominated for awards. And yeah, it did look good. It had good animation, but the story was weird and not in the kind of way that I like. Like, I like weird things, but this is about this guy who somehow he lost a hand, and it doesn't reveal how until towards the end of the movie, but the hand is still alive and it's looking for him. And meanwhile, you have the story of this guy before he lost his hand. He's trying to catch the attention of this girl that he likes, and he's not going about it in normal ways. He's kind of mildly stalkerish, in my opinion. And I mean, he seems nice enough, but he's just like super socially awkward. And just the whole movie was just weird and not in a good way. Like, I would have rated this lower, except the animation was really good. So I just put it solidly in the middle. It's very mediocre, and it would have been bad without the animation. Like, and I heard one guy who was apparently some person who actually votes in the Oscars saying that he would have liked this movie if it were live action. I'm like, no, if it were live action, it would have ruined any good that this movie actually has. The animation is what saved it from being terrible. So that's my worst of the year.
Yeah, I didn't get around to that one. Adult animation's not usually my cup of tea.
Yeah, me neither, but I kept hearing good things, and I just thought maybe this would surprise me.
Uh-huh.
It did.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched the trailer, and props to the animation group. It looked pretty good, so.
Yeah, it definitely looked good, and that's what saved it from being terrible. But I wasn't a fan. I can't really recommend this one.
Yeah.
Then my next one, it's about as far away from that movie as you can get, is Ugly Dolls.
Oh.
This I actually watched last night because I thought I kept hearing some good things about it, and I was like, well, I should watch it just in case it turns out to be like one of my top 10. It wasn't. uh, this one, it's not awful. It's not a bad movie. It's just not good, I guess. It's just fine. Like, if a little kid wanted to watch it, it's harmless. It's totally harmless. It has decent music, but the plot is predictable and makes no sense. Like, they're in this world where all these dolls have to train to become toys for children, and like all the training is just like a weird, I think they even call it a gauntlet. It's just weird. It makes no sense. It's just, the plot is just kind of dumb. But the music was decent. The voice acting was pretty good. So it's just overall very, very mediocre.
Yeah.
Then 14, I have one that I debated even putting on this list. We talked about it. It's the new version of The Lion King, the one that Disney wants to absolutely insist that this is live action. It is not live action. The entire movie, even the background, is animated. The only thing that is not animated was one tiny clip in the very beginning where the sun is rising. That's the only thing that's live action, and he only put it in there just to say that it wasn't completely animated. So yeah, this one is super mediocre. It's not a horrible movie. It's
Yeah.
watchable. It's better than Ugly Dolls, but it has no real heart to it.
Hmm.
Like the animals, and this is what they wanted. The animals look super realistic, and because they look super realistic, they just don't emote like humans do,
Hmm.
and there's no emotion. It just you
Yeah.
don't really feel anything from the movie.
Yeah. I ended up watching it at 1.5 speed because I was getting bored. And so I just sped it up and I was like, nothing, like, it actually felt like normal. Like, everyone talked in like the slowest voices and everything moves so slow. I sped it up and I'm just like, there, that's the actual movie. It doesn't have to be 2 hours long.
Yeah, it's. I wanted more from this movie, and I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I couldn't rank this one any higher.
Yeah,
It just
that one's at the bottom of my list as well.
then we're getting into movies that I actually did enjoy because uh, I feel like 2019 didn't have the greatest animation, but almost everything was at least pretty good.
Hmm.
So even though this is still towards the bottom of my list, we're now into movies that it's pretty good. I would recommend them if people want something a little different. And for 13, I have Missing Link.
Okay.
And this is by Leica, and it was good. It
Hmm.
wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be because I was expecting it to be really exciting and really different.
Hmm.
And it was a little predictable. There were some things that surprised me, but overall, I did enjoy this movie. I would recommend it to animation fans. There are things about it that I definitely would have done differently, but I'm not in charge of the movie, so I can't say that. So, as for what it is, I thought it was enjoyable, and yeah, it's totally fine.
Yeah, it was kind of predictable. I expected to be more of an epic adventure, but like it was an adventure, but it was kind of a slower adventure, which was
Yeah.
like fine in its own right, but and it was predictable. Like I saw the guy at the very beginning and I'm like, "Oh, Mr. Link or Susan or whatever you want to call the main character is going to be that guy for at the end of the movie." Like he's gonna be the assistant to the main character at the end of the movie, and I'm and that's how it ends. Spoiler, but I was like, oh yep, because like his body shape was the same, and I'm like, that's gonna be, that's gonna be the guy. That's gonna be it, and it ended up being that. So it didn't really surprise me, but the scenery really was stunning. The backgrounds and everything, it just really that was my favorite part of the movie
Hmm.
was they were just really pretty with the colors and all of that.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a bad movie. It obviously wasn't in my top five or even top 10, but
Hmm.
it's totally watchable, and I would recommend it for somebody who likes animation and wants something a little different.
Yeah.
So we're getting into the top 12. You said your last one was Lion King. Do you want to say anything else about it, or should we move on?
I guess the weirdest thing for me with Lion King is that they would change some of the lines, which was fine. I'm not
Hmm.
like, no, it has to be a carbon copy. But they would change the lines so that the next line that they would say from the original sounded weird or off. Like when Simba and Scar are like starting to face off, and Simba says, "Give me one good reason why I shouldn't tear you apart." Scar says, "I give you, I can give you multiple reasons. They think I'm king," and that's the only reason he gives. And I'm like, hang on, you said there were multiple reasons. That's just one. Like it was weird that they changed that line, but it just made the original line clunky feeling
Mm,
because it was like they started to specify things, but then they just used the original line. It's like just change the whole thing or keep the original lines. Don't try to
mm,
squish two things together because it just sounded weird.
yeah, that I feel like is one of my biggest criticisms about most of the live action remakes. And I did a whole podcast about this with
Mm.
Saul. So you'll have my thoughts in there. But for The Lion King, it wasn't one that I really grew up with. It was one that was kind of, it was not even, we weren't allowed to watch it. I think we watched it once as kids, and that was it. So I wasn't attached to it.
Hmm.
So I thought that I would be more suited to watch the live action remake with no childhood nostalgia attached.
Yeah.
And no, it didn't even save it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for my number 12, I have Abominable. This is
Mhm.
from DreamWorks and Pearl Studio, which it used to be DreamWorks China, so they changed the name to Pearl. So this is about another Yeti creature. Like the last one was Bigfoot, this one is the Abominable Snowman. And it's about this girl who finds him on her roof, and they go on this journey to bring him back to where he came from.
Mhm.
And this one was fine. I think I thought it was going to be better than it was, but the thing that kept holding me back from really liking it a lot was there was just too much childish humor in it.
Yeah.
Like it could have been a really great, moving, beautiful film, and there were parts that were moving and beautiful. The animation in parts were just stunning. The whole thing with the Yeti's powers that he could like move like the landscape and affect nature and trees and grass and fruit and everything. It looked so good.
Yeah.
But then they ruin it with a dumb joke. So
Yeah.
it, it definitely is not a bad movie. If you like animation, definitely check this one out. But if you don't watch a whole lot of movies, wait until my top 5 recommendation because this one is just fine. I don't think it's anything special because I feel like they squandered an opportunity, but it's
Hmm.
fine. It's
Yeah.
enjoyable enough.
Yeah, that's my main problem with most DreamWorks movies, but this
Yeah,
was on the higher end of DreamWorks movies for me. Like Kung Fu Panda movies are like top tier DreamWorks, and then this was like better than Shrek, not as good
that's
as
true.
Kung Fu Panda. It's kind of like just kind of there, and I'm like, it's fun but kind of forgettable, and the
Mm.
jokes are DreamWorks. But yeah, I agree.
Okay, what do you have for number 11?
Number 11 is Frozen 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to
Like,
talk about why?
so I went into Frozen 2 expecting it to be a carbon copy kind of the first, just set in a different scenario. And I kind of got that, but like there wasn't much conflict in the movie for me. And then like at the end it's just like, yay, we destroyed a dam. Now the movie is exactly kind of where we started from the beginning. Like, not much change from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. It was just the characters walking. And I felt like the songs were really forced. It's just like, where's Olaf? Oh, he just wandered off to go sing his Olaf song. That didn't have much to do in the story. I was like, couldn't you try a little bit harder? It just felt a little lazy for me. So I don't know. I'm not a big Frozen fan, anyways. But
Well, I wasn't either, but that's much higher on my list.
oh, I don't
For
know. Maybe I
number,
was in a bad mood.
maybe. For number 11, I have Secret Life of Pets 2.
Yeah.
And this is another one. It's fine. It's
Hmm.
fun. It's funny, but I don't feel like it's anything special. It's just a
Hmm.
middle of the road, decent animated movie. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it for what it was. I liked the psychotic monkey, but other than that, it's just a middle of the road animated family film. It's just
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. That's my 10th.
Okay, well, you want to talk about it then, since that'll be next.
Yeah. It was fine. Like it felt more like just what if we put a bunch of animal jokes for animal lovers and made it into a movie. Like it had funny moments in it, and then like they were like, oh, we're gonna cram it all to make it into an overarching story somehow. Like it
It,
felt
it,
strange how they connected everything.
it was more like a bunch of short stories all
Yeah.
sort of forced into making one long story. Like
Yeah.
this could have been a bunch of short films and been
Mhm.
totally fine.
Yeah. It's like, gotta get the ball from the cat lady's house. Gotta get the Harrison Ford life advice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just middle of the road, decent
Yeah.
family.
Hmm.
For my number 10, I have Teen Titans Go versus the Teen Titans. This one was a direct to video movie, and it turned out kind of good. Like the for people who don't know, Teen Titans was a show like in the early 2000s, I believe, that followed the superhero Teen Titans, the five teenagers who become superheroes. They're like the sidekicks of some main superheroes. Like Robin is their leader, Robin of Batman fame. So then it got canceled after season 5, and it many years later came back sort of as Teen Titans Go, which was a much more ridiculous version of the show, and fans of the original hated it like with a burning passion. They absolutely hated Teen Titans Go. And I thought the Teen Titans Go was fine. It definitely wasn't the same show, but I thought it was decently funny. It did have some very childish humor. I haven't watched a whole lot of episodes, but what I've seen always made me laugh and then roll my eyes. But then it would make me laugh again, so it's fine. But
Yeah.
then this movie has both teaming up with each other. There's an object that can like open alternate universes, and both teams have to team up to defeat Raven's father, who is the demon Trigon. Have you seen the original Teen Titans or Teen Titans Go?
I'm not that up to it. I've watched like a couple episodes of the original show, bits and clips of Teen Titan Go, because people are like, look at this trash they put on television. I'm just like, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, in the original story, in any version, Raven is half demon and she's trying to get rid of her evil side because she wants to be good. But her father turns up now and then, and in this version, they have two versions of her father to deal with. One is the ridiculous Teen Titans Go version, and one is the actual menacing evil version. So overall, I just thought that it was really funny. The two versions of each of them played off each other really well.
Hmm.
It's ridiculous, and if you're a fan of the Teen Titans or if you're a fan of superheroes, I would definitely recommend this movie.
Yeah.
Probably not to like the mainstream audience because half the stuff you're not going to get. Half the stuff is maybe it's too ridiculous for a mainstream audience. I don't know. This one went direct to DVD instead of going to theater.
Hmm.
So who knows? I don't think this is mainstream audience friendly, but for me who likes superheroes and
Hmm.
ridiculous humor, I liked it.
Yeah.
Okay, number 9.
Mine was Missing Link.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, it was fine. It was enjoyable. I'd watch it again if someone asked me to, but it's not like, oh man, that was amazing. I'm gonna go, like, it's a classic. It's going in my collection.
Yeah, that's pretty good summing up of it. For my number 9, I have the Angry Birds movie 2.
Oh.
This I am shocked that I liked because I was not planning on even going to watch this movie in the theater.
Mhm.
But I kept hearing some good buzz about it, but I'd never watched the original. So I dutifully found a copy of the original and chored my way through it. And it was mediocre to poor. I was not a fan of the original. Then I was like, there's no way they can get, I mean, they can only go up, but I did not expect them to improve that much.
Mhm.
They did. Somehow they did. This movie was so much better than the original. I was like, can this just be the only Angry Birds movie? Can we just erase the other from existence? This one was really funny, really well written, really well acted. Aquafina plays one of the characters, and I love Aquafina. It's just this movie was an improvement in every way to the original. So uh, I I don't want to like fully recommend it because it's a sequel to a movie that I don't recommend. But like if you watched the original and you're willing to give this one a chance, I would say check this one out. But it's kind of middle of the road, but it made me laugh quite a lot. So I I enjoyed it. I don't know that it's for everybody, but I enjoyed it. Number 8.
So my number 8 is the Invader Zim Enter the Florpus.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've seen some Invader Zim, and it's a mixed bag for me because like sometimes the humor would really make me laugh, but then sometimes it'd be kind of too grotesque humor.
Hmm.
Like, okay, they're eating organs. I'm not really laughing. Um, but the movie was actually really fun, and I guess you didn't really need to know what was going on, but it felt like a long episode. It did kind of bore me at one point where I'm like, okay, get the movie. The movie kind of felt a little slow, but it was actually really well animated and it made me laugh a lot. So I was just
Okay.
like, people told me watch it, and I'm like, fine. And then I ended up enjoying it.
Yeah, I never saw that one. I had never watched the original series, so I didn't
Yeah.
feel like I should jump in on a movie, and I didn't have time to invest in watching the original series, so I
Yeah.
never saw it. My number 8 is Spies in Disguise. This was Blue Sky's movie for the year. Blue Sky is now owned by Disney, which seems kind of weird that Disney now has 3 animation studios, but it sets it apart from the other studios that Disney owns. It was actually fun. I enjoyed it. It's Will Smith and Tom Holland playing 2 spies that have to team up, and Will Smith gets turned into a pigeon, which is it's ridiculous. The movie is ridiculous, but I thought it was fun and another enjoyable middle of the road family feature.
Yeah. I have it on my list to watch. I couldn't get to a theater, and I was like, do I want to spend $12 on this thing? Oh, I'm probably gonna watch it when it comes out on DVD, but it's
Yeah,
interesting.
I saw it when I was home for the holidays, and my theater back home tickets are only 650
Oh
because it's a
wow.
tiny small town theater. And I was really busy. I thought I wasn't going to get a chance to watch it. I managed to make it in on the very last day it was in the theater.
Oh cool.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to see this one. And I'm glad I did. It was fun. Okay, number 7.
So my number 7 is How to Train Your Dragon 3 Hidden World.
Okay.
Yeah, so to be honest, I've only seen the first How to Train Your Dragon. I never watched the second one.
Really?
Yeah, I just never like it came out in theaters, and when I was too young to like go to the theater myself because the theater was too far away, and so it kind of missed it, and then I just never got the DVD and all that. So then when 3 came out, I was like, well, I mean, I'll go watch it. I should probably watch 2, but I was surprised that I didn't really need to watch 2. Like I understood everything that was going on, but I had fun. It was beautiful. The
Hmm.
villain was cheesy. He was so cheesy, but like
Yeah.
I enjoyed how like he was just, I'm evil. I want to kill all the Dragon Knight Furies. Wahaha! And you're like, well, at least you didn't overcomplicate yourself. But it was fun, and I really enjoyed it. It was really just fun.
Hmm. Well, my number 7 is The Addams Family. And this one, I'm kind of surprised that it stayed as high on my list as it did, but I thought it was fun. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people thought it was very boring and mediocre and whatever, but I enjoyed it. I wasn't a huge fan of the designs, which is a lot of people's main criticism of the movie, but they were going for a look that matched the original comic strip.
Yeah.
So I can't fault them for the design because they were throwing it back to the original design. So I
Hmm.
can't use that as a valid criticism. If it were like new designs that they were making up for today, I think I would be a lot more critical.
Yeah.
But this is what they originally looked like, and they're translating that into 3D, and I think they did a good job with that.
Yeah.
So overall, if you're a fan of the Adams Family, I totally recommend this one.
Yeah. That's my next one.
Okay, well, you want to give your thoughts on it then?
Yeah, I really had fun with that one. I actually never watched Adam's Family either. I know I'm uncultured. Oh no. But like it always like intrigued me because I'm like I kind of have it was like that dark humor, just really I don't know. It really I was afraid that they'd go too far or it just didn't make me laugh, but I actually really enjoyed it. I do agree kind of with the designs, mostly with the normal people.
That
They were
is true.
creepier than the Adams family. I'm like, oh, those lips, they're so scary. I was like, they're scary looking. The Adams family are fine. Like the normal people were kind of creepy.
That is true. They were weirder than the Adams family in that
Yeah.
respect.
But once I kind of got over that, yeah, I had fun with it.
Yeah.
I probably would recommend it to people. I guess it depends on who you are, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah. Okay, for my number 6, I have Netflix's Klaus.
Hmm.
This is a Santa Claus origin story, and I wasn't really expecting to like this movie a whole lot. I'm not a huge fan of Santa Claus. Like, my family never grew up believing in Santa.
Uh huh.
It was just a thing that we knew other people believed in, and we thought that was kind of weird. So, Santa has never held a dear place in my heart.
Yeah.
But once in a while, there will be a Santa story that I enjoy. And this is one of them. This one is kind of different than most of these in that it's hand drawn, which is a rarity these days.
Hmm.
I think I only have 3 hand drawn on my list, and I've already talked about 2 of them. The I Lost My Body was hand drawn, and Teen
Hmm.
Titans Go versus Teen Titans was hand drawn. So it is kind of rare to get an actual hand drawn film, but this one is, and I think they did a good job with it. The script was surprisingly good. It was a little too corny for me, but they still managed to save it by having the characters go through a really good, believable character arc,
Hmm.
and the corniness I was able to forgive by the end. Like, it's just really over the top at the beginning with how narcissistic the main character is.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it, and yeah, I think it's a better than average, really good family movie.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5.
My number 5, Toy Story 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So I grew up with Toy Story. It came out the year I was born. So I grew up with Toy Story literally, not with how most people do when they're Andy, but like I was kind of skeptical about Toy Story 4. I was like, do we need another Toy Story? I always want to call it Toy Story 5. I feel like there's 5 of them. But
There's been so many shorts they could make a movie out of
yeah.
them.
But it really surprised me and I love Forky. So he like really just made the movie for me. He was so funny
Yeah.
and the animation was really good and the characters were fun, obviously because it's Toy Story. But yeah, like I just had fun with it and well, I wouldn't say it was as emotionally impacting as they claimed it to be. It's like it'll make you cry.
Yeah.
You everyone came out of the theaters crying and even the actors were crying. Like I'm not doubting that, but I didn't cry.
Yeah.
But I liked it and it was enjoyable. Just please stop making Toy Story now.
I thought it was good for a movie that didn't need to exist.
Yes. It's like,
But yeah,
well,
that's actually higher on my list, so I'll save my thoughts for when we get
yeah.
there. For my number 5, that's where I have How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World.
Uh-huh.
I really liked this movie. I thought it was really beautiful, uh,
Mhm.
a really good, solid entry into the franchise. I feel like it could have been better, which I kind of wish that it had been able to be like my number 1,
Mhm.
but it was good. Like, I wanted a better ending. Like, I didn't like that they ended up just splitting up the dragons and humans. I mean, I guess I knew that was coming because like it was sort of foretold in the first movie that there used to be dragons.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm glad that they didn't kill off all the dragons so that they could say there used
Yeah.
to be dragons. But yeah, for the vast majority of the movie, it was great. I wish it had had a better ending, but I still really enjoyed it and I still highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4.
So my number 4 is Klaus.
Okay.
I really liked Klaus. I've been looking forward since they first like announced it. I saw like their little animation tests, and I'm a huge 2D animation fan. I'm actually a 2D animator, so just seeing any 2D hand drawn animation, it's just like yay! It just
Yes.
like well, you're like going to be my favorite movie of the year just because I just love how they characterize the characters' movements so well, how they move, how
Hmm.
they did the lighting. And while like Christmas movies aren't really my thing and Santa Claus isn't really my thing, I thought it was a really sweet story. The character arcs worked well.
Hmm.
It was so silly, but like it was silly enough and like it just was a lot of fun and it lived up to my expectations. And yeah, so that's my thoughts on. I could probably talk about that movie a lot with the technical side, but I will do all that. But
Hmm.
it's really beautiful, and I hope that the studio keeps making great movies like that because I
Yeah.
think we need more creativity.
Yeah. I'm really excited for Netflix animation initiative because
Yeah.
they've got a lot of animation in the works, a bunch of it hand drawn, and I'm really excited to see where they go with it.
Yeah.
They're making an adaptation of one of my favorite books from when I was a kid that nobody's ever heard of called My Father's Dragon. I
Yes.
loved that book when I was a kid.
Yes, oh my goodness. Yes,
I
I'm so excited.
I am yeah. I wish it were coming sooner, but take all the time you need. Make this movie good.
Yes.
Make it for the child the movie that a child me would have wanted as a kid.
Yes.
I loved
Yes.
that book so much.
Yes. Yes, I am so excited. That's like my like most anticipated movie ever right now. I'm just like I like heard about it. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And I like dug out my old copy of it and I read it all again. Plus
Yeah,
it's being done by oh man, what's their name? The people who did Song of the Sea, Secret of
Cartoon
Kells.
Saloon.
Yeah, Cartoon Saloon is doing it.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty confident that they're going to do a really interesting art style with it to kind of
Yeah.
capture the illustrations that were in the book. So yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. That I never owned that book as a kid, but I checked it out so many times from the library. Like I didn't do a whole lot of repeat checkouts as a kid. There were
Mm-hmm.
very few books that I would check out multiple times, but that was definitely one of them. I checked it out so many times. I love that book. All three of
Yes.
them. There were three books in the series. I loved them.
Yes.
Okay, my number 4 is the Lego Movie 2, the second part. I really liked this movie. I thought it was a great follow up to the original Lego Movie. I really liked the new characters. I really liked the songs. I thought the Queen whatever Wanabe was great. I loved her and Batman together. It's
Yes.
just overall, if you liked the first Lego Movie, you need to watch Lego Movie 2.
Yes.
It's a fun movie. Definitely take the whole family. I really liked it.
Yes.
Okay, number 3.
My number 3 is the Lego Movie too.
Okay.
I love Lego Movie. It's one of my favorite movies ever. And so I was really excited for Lego Movie 2, and it was perfect. I have no complaints. The animation is awesome as always. The stories are great. The jokes are great. The setup was great. The characters are great. Everything is great. Watch this movie, please. I love it.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. The remix was awesome. Even the catchy song was awesome. I just
Yes.
loved the whole thing. It
Yeah.
was great. The glampires were awesome. Everything was great.
Yeah.
One of the most perfect movies.
Yeah. Highly recommend for people looking for a good, funny, musical family film.
Yes.
Okay, my number 3. This one is probably not one people are going to be expecting, but my number 3 is a TV movie, Steven Universe the movie. I really liked this movie. It would have been lower on my list because it had a lot of flaws. The script was not really what I wanted. it rehashed basically the entire series, which they did that so that people could watch this movie without having watched the original series. And they did it in such a way that even if you know, at least for the stuff that's recapping, even if you know basically how everything is going to play out, it's still told in a fresh way. So I have to give them props for that. They took a retelling of a 5 season series and did it in a good way. Still, I wanted something totally fresh and new, which is why I say it would have been much lower on my list. However, it was a musical, and I loved every single song in this movie. It was really good. So good. Like, the music saved this whole movie. It just elevated it far beyond what it needed to be. It made it so much better than your average TV movie. I really enjoyed it. And I would recommend it to anybody who loves Steven Universe. And even if you haven't, like I said, they recapped the series, so you can watch this without having watched the series. Just, yeah, I really like this movie. It's so much better than I thought than your average TV movie.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
Yeah, it's really good. And I guess it's another hand drawn movie. I forgot. I have another hand drawn movie. Okay, number two.
Number 2. Wait, why list? Why do you only have one thing left? Did I miscount? Two
You
the
said you thought you were
invisible.
missing something.
Yeah. Let's see. Hang on. Let me load up the list of anime movies. 12. I watched 12. Which one did I miss? I talked about Lego Movie, Dragons, Missy Link, Secret Pets, Toy Story, Abominable, Adam's Family, Frozen 2, Lion King, Klaus. Huh. Did I only watch 11?
Maybe.
Oops.
Okay, well, if you're off, then I'll just talk about my number two,
Yes, you
which
talk about your number 2.
this is where I have Toy Story 4.
Yay.
I really like this movie. I thought it was so much better than it could have been. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't expect it to be bad, but I didn't expect it to be amazing.
Yeah.
And I thought that they did so much better than they needed to for another sequel to a movie that, like, I'm not even the biggest Toy Story fan. Like,
Mhm.
everybody always talks about, oh, Toy Story was their childhood. And,
Yeah.
like, I I didn't really grow up with it. I think it came out when
Mhm.
I was around maybe 9 or 10.
Mhm.
We maybe watched it 1 or 2 times. It wasn't one that I watched a whole lot. I thought it
Uh-huh.
was fine. I thought it was enjoyable, but I didn't absolutely love it like some people.
Mhm.
Same with the sequels. I really liked 3. I thought 3 was the best of the movies. I thought it was a great ending to the series. But
Yeah.
I've never had the attachment to the franchise that some people have. But I thought Toy Story 4 was great. I thought it was a great second ending to a story that we didn't need.
The
But
second ending.
yeah, it's kind of like a prologue, I guess.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a great job with it. I thought it was a
Mhm.
great way to give an ending to, or a different type of happy ending to Woody.
Mhm.
When I feel like the first three, the happy ending was more about Andy than it was Woody. It kind of felt like it was about Woody too because of the way everything was playing out, but this is a more true happy ending, especially since he finds Bo Peep again. And
Yeah.
yeah, I really like this one. Hands down, recommend to pretty much absolutely anybody. I thought
Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah. And man, did they make those ventriloquist dummies horrifying.
I
I
like them, but I like them in the same way that I like clowns
yeah.
because I find stuff like that hilarious because I think it's funny that people are afraid of them. So anytime they have something like that, like a clown or something like that, that
Yeah.
funny, but people
Uh-huh.
are terrified of it, I just think
Yeah.
it's hilarious.
Yeah. They really nailed the movement of like when they're all just running and piling up on each other squished. I was like, oh, that's like funny and yet like unsettling in a way.
Yeah.
It was great. I was like, I love and hate these things at the same time. Their heads just completely turn around. You're like, ugh.
Well, I think I'll just do my number one since you probably can guess what it is because there's only one left,
Yeah.
and that's Frozen 2.
Yeah.
I I really liked this movie. I was shocked that I liked this movie so
Mhm.
much. But like with Steven Universe the movie,
Mhm.
the music is what totally saved it. Like
Uh-huh.
the Frozen 2, for me at least, has a lot of script issues.
Oh
There's a whole
yeah.
lot of things that just straight up don't make sense.
Yep.
But the music totally saved it. Plus, they somehow made Olaf better. Like
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Olaf fan. He did have like one of my favorite lines in the original when he said, "Oh look, I've been impaled."
Yeah.
So I didn't hate Olaf the way some people do, but I definitely didn't love him. But I
Yeah.
thought they totally made him so much better in this movie.
Yeah.
And to top that off with the music,
Mhm.
just yeah, that's why it's my favorite. It's so much better than I thought it was going to be. I was shocked that it made it all the way to the top of my list, but
Yeah.
yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah. I love the part when Olaf recaps the first movie. It's like so good. And then the other guy is just like, oh no, poor Anna. That was just like that was probably my favorite part.
Yeah,
It was just really good.
it's so much like with Toy Story 4. It's so much better than it could have been. It's so much better than
Yeah.
it needed to be. It
Uh-huh.
just if I really liked it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do your final, the number one best movie of 2019.
So my number one best movie of 2019 was Promare.
Okay, I kind of figured the way you'd been talking earlier this year about that.
Yeah. So I am a big fan of action movies, 2D animation, bright colors, silly scripts that like scripts don't have to be overly complicated as long as you enjoy the characters and
Hmm.
the whole setting. And I just loved every minute I was in the theater. I had to drive like 3 hours to go see this movie, but I loved it so much. The music was great. The visuals were absolutely stunning. The character designs were great. The characters were great. The story was silly and slightly convoluted, but like they owned it all the way through. So you could just like say, I accept it wholeheartedly. And I just like loved it so much. I don't know how else to say it. I don't want to spoil any of the story. I guess I could sum it up a bit. There was this big event where people just started to spontaneously start combusting. And so there's like these people and they have these fire powers called the Burnish because creative names, I guess. But the city start to have all these firefighters to come and stop the Burnish from basically burning down the whole. So they're kind of like policemen, but they're firefighters at the same time. And so the main character is one of these firefighters, and then the other main character is one of the Burnish. He's the leader of all the this like gang of Burnish people, and they wear like these giant robot suits, and they ride flaming motorcycles. It's so ridiculous. I love it, and
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and and so there's just like this giant robot on a giant robot flaming motorcycle or a four-wheeler, and you're like, why? This is hilariously over the top. Then the story is about like the characters and their views on the world clashing, and maybe they team up. Who knows? I don't want to spoil it, but the characters are really well done. The character designs are really well done. The music again is great. I just loved every second of it, and there is no faults. I don't care. No faults. I don't care. You could probably sit and think about faults, but whenever I think of anything that was wrong in the movie, I just say I don't care. I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah. This is one that I wanted to see. It never
Uh huh.
came to the theater near me,
Yeah.
and I didn't have 3 hours to spend driving somewhere else to watch it. And
Yeah.
it has been recommended to me so many times. Like my friend Sam has told me about it so many times.
Yeah.
She's gonna buy it, and then next time I'm home and it's out, we're gonna actually watch it.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I will get to watch it eventually. I just haven't been able to watch it yet. I
Yeah.
just it looks ridiculous,
It's
but
so
it's
ridiculous.
anime, so that's kind
Yeah.
of to be expected.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be able to overtake my list
Yeah.
and become number one, but
Yeah.
who knows? I'm glad at least got a mention in the podcast because I've heard so much about it. I know that at least for some people it's amazing, so I'm glad it
Mhm.
got a mention.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's our list. That's 2019 animation ranked. I know there are a few movies that we left out, a couple of mainstream movies that we left out, like Wonder Park and Arctic Dogs.
Oh.
Arctic Dogs, I was not going to watch. It looked absolutely atrocious.
I had
Wonder
to sit
Park,
through the trailer at a theater, and I'm like,
uh,
I almost don't want to watch the movie I've come to see. I want to leave.
yeah, it looked horrible. Wonder Park didn't look horrible, but it looked extraordinarily mediocre.
Yeah.
And I was gonna watch it if I had a free moment, but I
Hmm.
wasn't gonna make time for it, and I never had a free moment to watch it, so it didn't get watched. So
Yeah.
we watched most of the mainstream 2019 animation, and then a few other smaller releases here and there. So I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for doing this with me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem. I will talk animation to my grave.
We'll have to think of something else and do another episode one of these days.
Yeah.
You want to let people know where they can find you in the meantime?
Yeah, so people can find me at my Twitter, Katie Draws Things. I have a website called Katie Draw Things if anyone's interested in seeing any of my artwork or my animation. I have an Instagram that I keep telling myself to update, but I never do. So you can find me there, and usually what I'm doing is posting artwork and silly ideas or stuff like that. But yeah.
Okay, well, I will have links to those down below. So I guess thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.
Thanks again to Katie for joining me for this episode. I'll have links to her stuff down below. Next week will be the last week of our 2019 recap miniseries, and I'll be joined by my friend Eli to talk all about our top 10 favorite movies of 2019. It's always fun to talk movies with Eli because we have just as many differences as we have in common, so while we have some similarities, our lists are really different. We had a great discussion, so make sure to check back next time for that one. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on I Heart Movies.